Hello, everyone, and welcome to Longer and Harder, the show on the internet where we take a subject and we go deeper. Mike was muted, probably because I moved it. Oh my goodness! And here's Hobbs. Here's Hobbs to say hi to everyone. Look at that. Look at that. He just wants to crawl out the window. How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having yourselves a wonderful, wonderful Sunday afternoon. It is a gorgeous day here out in beautiful Nebraska. Oh, buddy, why you gotta do this? We'll see. We'll see if we can get Hobbs here in the picture soon. He has decided that it's a good time to sit on my desk, and I would show you my desk, and you could see him and whatnot. But my desk is an absolute wreck right now. It's fantastic. Story time, I guess. I don't know, why not, right? Oh, I guess we'll just jump into housekeeping. That'll be story. I like that. I like that a whole lot. Story time. I tested negative for COVID. Yay me. I'm not dying. That's good. That's fantastic. I still had symptoms. So I went to work for like one day, and then the doctor who runs the clinic, I was like, we had a meeting, and there was some confusion about policies about going back to work because I have we have a clinic at the hospital that's for employees, and that clinic was the one that was like, yeah, no, you can go back to work. But my clinic was like, you probably shouldn't be here. And so I was like, well, who do you want me to listen to? And they were like, listen to us and go home. So then I got sent home. So I worked for like one day last week, and then the rest of the time I'd been home. Which has been fun, interesting. I started where story comes on. Why my desk is a mess. I started doing gunpla. That's what it's called. Now I have a giant robot. So that's cool. This is fun. I like these things. These things are neat. It was a lot of fun to get to build him and whatnot. I'm gonna work on painting and stuff because that also seems like a fun little hobby. So that's what I've been doing. I also have another one, that I went and bought, which I slightly regret going out and buying. There's a hobby store down the street from me, and I was like, oh, okay, it's a little mom and pop hobby store. I'm sure that it'll be fairly empty because it's a little hobby store in Nebraska. So you know how much like crowded can it be? And it wasn't crowded, so I was like, okay, it's not that bad. But I went there with my wife, and literally my wife and I were the only two like wearing masks, including the people at the store. So it was kind of anxiety inducing. So that kind of sucked a little bit. But I still went and bought this guy. You don't know who that is. That is Unit 1. I'm gonna build Unit 1 from Evangelion because it's the best anime ever created by human beings ever. And it deserves it. So I am very excited to create Unit 1. It'll be great. It'll be great stuff. There's a lot of cool stuff. So that's been my hobby for the last like week or so, has been making Gunpla and stuff. I'm still gonna work on making more boxes out of cardboard, more cardboard boxes out of other cardboard boxes. So stuff. I'm gonna fill up my shelf with crap. It's great. So yeah, that's been my week. I might go back to work. So my symptoms are gone. I like yesterday I kind of noticed my wife was cutting what was she cutting? Cilantro behind me. We have a little arrow garden thing in the living room. And she was cutting cilantro behind me, and I could smell it. And I was like, "Oh, you just cut cilantro. That's great." And then she's like, "Oh, you can actually smell the cilantro again." I was like, "Oh." So yes, taste is back. Which is good. Smell and taste are back, so I'm happy about that. I kind of missed them quite a bit. It was weird not to be able to do that. So I will probably go back to work like Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on what my the doctor at the clinic says. Probably one of those 2 days. We'll see. So yeah, it is the smallest giant robot. I was actually amazed at how tiny this thing is. It's like, there's my hand to give compare. Here's a beer to give comparison. It's smaller than a beer. Like, this thing is really tiny. I thought it'd be a little bit bigger. The whole giant robot thing is definitely like a misnomer with this one. I also built R2D2, which not R2D2. It's got a different name. I forget what this guy. But I built this guy. Painted him too. He had to be painted, hand painted. So that was fun. Well, that's been my week. I've been painting and building things and stuff to keep myself from going crazy. Not sure it's helped. The world is still on fire, so that's still been a thing. So I'm not sure if sitting around building things has really made me less crazy or not. Either way, we are here. So that's most of what I got for housekeeping. Not a whole lot going on. I will always like I try to do as often as I do, plug all the things. You should check out yesterday, Microbloganism, myself, Geo Strebber, Purple Dan, and Smells Like E Minor did a taking a look at what was it called? Emo free, I think it was. Which stands for, I think emo stands for something. I don't think it's just emo free. We did a taking a look at of this website. It was really weird. It was like they called it tapping. And it was a little it's like acupuncture like things with like tapping. I don't know. It was weird. We also we went into a deep dive because they did actually have a they did, it was an energy modified something, I don't know. They actually had a paper in the APA, which is the American Psychological Association. They actually had a paper, and so we went through this giant digging fest of trying to dig out the trying to find the original paper and read through it as quickly as we could to find out what it was about. It was not mostly bullshit, but the conclusions were bullshit. So it was a weird paper that the science, like, I'm pretty sure they well, they did, because they were in a peer reviewed research journal published. So they went through like the peer review process, and they, you know, met the rigors of that. But the conclusion that they came to was more than a little iffy, and so we got to read through that for a little bit. We also got to read through the what's it called, the there was a thing, somebody wrote like counter paper to it, so that was neat. So that's what we did on stream. We kind of read through a couple of papers, and so that was fun. So you should go check that out. Also, as always, I'm at go check out the D&D stuff. If you like D&D stuff, go check it out over at Christy Winters' channel. I'll be DMing again this Wednesday, and I was in a fun, it's very long, but definitely the more the part that I enjoyed a little bit more was the beginning part where Microbloganism's character got arrested, and then we had to break him out of jail, and it went about as well as any D&D adventure went. So that was good times. So go check those things out. And I think that's more or less what we got ourselves for housekeeping. Of course, no beer of the week. Still not going to breweries and whatnot. So I got my lucky bucket beer for today, and that's what we'll drink. But nothing to really review. He went to jail. He was real bad. He was real bad. He did real bad things. We're gonna have a talk. Literally, the session ended with all of us needing to have a talk with Erasmus, Micro's character, because he's in some hot water. We're gonna have a talk with him probably at the beginning of the next session. We're gonna have a little chat with him and his behavior as of late. All right, with all that said, we got ourselves our video options for today. Can I order beers online? I probably can. So like breweries are still open. That's not like, it's not like breweries have been open this whole time. I have been going to Lucky Bucket because they've been selling cases of beer for $20, which was nice for most of that. And so I've been going to them for that. I think at this point try to find an alternative to so I could get beer of the week back going, because I do miss beer of the week. But for a while there, what I was doing is that there's a local this is probably like a Midwestern store called Hy-Vee, and the one nearby has a really good liquor store section where you can like it's and they have a lot of beer, not like a lot of microbrews, a lot of microbrews, which makes it look kind of fun and easy to go browse. And so that's what I was doing. The last time I gotta start a homebrew, I probably should. The last time I went to Hy-Vee for beer was, I think, back in March, maybe late middle March, like right when restrictions were being put in place. And it was terrifying. Like nobody was following any social distancing rules. This was before like masks were even a recommendation, and people were like all over my beeswax, and I hated every moment of being in that store. So since then I kind of decided not to go back there. I could probably go to one of the breweries and just pick up some beers. I've had most of the beers, not most of the beers, but I've been to most of the breweries in Omaha, so there's not a whole lot left there. So yeah, we'll see. That's not a bad idea though. Trying to find either an online place or maybe just have like a plan for like what I want to get at a brewery, so I can just like jump in and grab like a growler or something. That might be a good idea. There's definitely a lot of good beer left to be drinking. So we'll give it a try. Is it telling when I heard homebrew, my mind instantly went to D&D? Yes, I gotta start working on our D&D thing. D&D thing will happen 2 weeks. I don't remember what day I said. I don't know how days work anymore. I'm gonna check days. When do days work? I don't remember when days work anymore. Calendar. Okay, calendar, dear calendar. Show me the month. No, not the day. Show me the month. Show me the month. How do I do this? Okay. The 27th. So not this weekend, but the weekend after that, on Saturday, we'll be doing a one shot called Something or Another. Very homebrew kind of heavy, I think. So that'll be fun. I haven't prepared for it yet because I've been doing other things. Oh, yeah, I did the Black Lives Matter whatever fundraiser. We raised quite a bit of money. I think it like $700-800 or something like that. I don't remember what kind of our end total was, but we raised a good amount of money. It was good. So I spent a lot of effort into that campaign or that session that day, which was a lot of work because I did it all in like 24 hours. Not just the getting the campaign ready, but also the planning and whatnot. So it was a very crazy kind of day for that. Oh no, this thing didn't get updated now that I'm looking. Weird thing. Oh, I see. So so yeah, so that kind of I ended up doing that and didn't get other D&D stuff put together. Okay, with all of that said, we have ourselves a video menu for today, and here are our options. If you like to vote, you'll get a prompt to do an upside down eye vote, and then the number you like to vote for. We got number 1, a 7-year-old transition by Blair White. Immigration by ARTV. SJWs versus Sonic by Geekdom 101. Interview with WHO, the World Health Organization by Randomer Cam. Shadows by Mr. Thrive and Survive. It's some sort of eclipse, flat Earth nonsense. Hippocratic Hypocrisy by The Bloody Truth. I think that's a COVID-related thingamabob. And Autism Results by Gary Craig. Gary Craig, by the way, is the gentleman, the founder, according to his website. God, talking is still not easy, but it's doing a little bit better than before. He's the founder of Emo Free, which is the thing that Micro and I whatchamacallit talked about, the website that we looked at yesterday. So that's kind of how he ended up here. He's got a YouTube channel, so I decided I might as well find some things to do with that. All right, if you'd like to vote, follow the directions in the chat. Hey, look, there's in the chat, upside down eye, vote, and then the number you like to vote for, and that will be the thing that we talk about today. We have a little bit of lower viewership than usual, so I might have to make decisions if it gets watched. So either way, it was quite the that website was hilariously out of date, but also they had some things on like trauma, which was getting into the real sketchy bit. Like it was pretty like on like pretty much how to cure trauma with what do you call it, with what's the thing with the needles, thing with the needles, you put them in things. What are they called? Acupuncture, pretty much. Yeah, how to deal with trauma with acupuncture. And so like most of it was real shady. There was also the guy was doing quite a bit of mansplaining how women issues should be dealt with when it comes to like acupunctures, like how, yeah, there was a lot of like PMS is like you can cure PMS by whatchamacallit, actually acupressure. Oh, okay, I didn't have any acupressure. I don't know the difference between all this woo stuff. To me is more or less the same, so I don't necessarily know the details, but you're right, it was tapping, like self-tapping, equal woo less stabbing, yeah. I think it's like, yeah, self-tapping is what he called it, something like that. And what was it called, the invisible therapist or something like that, is his whole system. He's got a whole system about like how to on how to, I don't know, deal with your own trauma. The unseen therapist, there we go. The unseen therapist, how to deal with your own trauma by like, yeah, like tapping your arm or some shit. It was real weird. I'm The whole thing was really weird. This one that he's got, the one that I found, is about autism, so I'm pretty sure it's one of those like I can cure autism by acupressure, which I can only imagine is equally nonsensical woo. Also extremely ableist, unnecessarily ableist. In case you don't know, you don't really. It's kind of it's. Am I the only blue? You're probably not the only non-blue. Um, it's it's not usually gonna, like, there's no real reason to cure autism. Like, autism isn't a problem. It's, it's just a different way of thinking, not really a different way of brain working. So the idea of curing autism is always a bit of a kind of iffy kind of deal. Um, so so that those kinds of videos are always kind of interesting. You feel lonesome, that's okay. Um, hmm. We always we got to a point where I just have a lot of people just get this, whatever, like a lot of these people have been here forever. Inside, I think you'd been here forever too, though. So maybe, I don't know. I don't fucking know. But yeah, no, we do have a lot of blue people. I would say the hashtag with blue, but I don't want to, because that's a bad hashtag. Don't hashtag that one about blue and lives. Oh, so, but either way, fun times. So yeah, it looks like the voting is gonna go for number 6, which is gonna be the Bloody Truth. The Bloody Truth is he's such a funny dude. He did 2 videos on me, I think. If I remember correctly, he had two whole I'm a blue buddy. What? Yeah, the Bloody Truth that made like 2 videos about me, because I made one video about him, and then he responded, and then I responded back, and then he responded again. I'm blue da ba dee. Oh, okay. I gotta sing it. That's what it is. I mean, you don't want to hear our R&B. Terrible idea. Yeah, yeah, it was something about the space station. Oh yeah, it was the International Space Station that there was like a music video that the International Space Station did. And it's some goofy ass shit, right? And they have like special effects as much as like special effects you can have when you're making a music video. Like, it's a cheap music video, so they have like those fancy transitions of like rah rah, right? And one of the fancy transitions that they do is they have, buddy, they have like just a fade transition. It's really like that's all it is. It's just a little fade transition. And they do it in such a way where like the background doesn't change, and just the astronaut kind of fades away, but the background still it's still more or less the same. It's not exactly the same, but it's a fade transition. So you see this like astronaut fade away and then come back around the corner and whatnot. And it was like flat earthers kind of lost their shit over it. They were like, look, they're using special effects, but it was just a transition. It was a funny video. He just the Bloody Truth is just my favorite sometimes. All right, we are all done with voting for today. It looks like the Bloody Truth won, which is good, because that's who I was talking about. You may have a blue house with a blue window, but you do not have a blue name. All right, let's see where we got. Here it is. Oh,
alcohol.
Oh, he's got some party music going on here. This is the name of the. God, this video is super long. I didn't realize how long this video is. The name of the video is Hippocratic Hypocrisy. It is, if I remember from the little bit that I watched of it. Oh no, that's not what I want. Did you get the wrong screen thing? Why aren't you moving up? Buddy, gotta stop. Get things to work here. Hopefully get things. Oh no! Oh, I think I put it in the wrong one. It seems to be like fairly COVID related nonsense, but also some just some other besides COVID stuff, just kind of like anti medicine for the most part. And he's got some funny takes about symbols. He kind of does a whole Marty Leeds, like one symbol and one word in medicine is enough for him to think it's like the. Okay, so with all this said, let's go. There he is. Look at that happy boy. What a happy boy he is. Anti-medicine is just poison. I mean, he is just poison. Be completely fair. All right, so here we go. Hopefully there's sound. Why can't I hear? Ooh, things are going crazy. Oh, because the cat sat on my keyboard. I can't hear. There we go. Poison. Oh, look at that. We already got the poison out. So the problem at some of this, if I remember right, and you kind of saw it there, but it was rather quick, is some of it is very, like, I don't necessarily disagree with. So some of it he does talk about sort of how medicine is kind of like a for-profit industry, which he's not wrong about, and how that's bad, which again he's also not wrong about. But his solution, or what his cause to why it's a for-profit thing, besides profit, is kind of crazy. And then his solution for it is also equation. So it's one of those videos that I kind of get where he's coming from. Like, we shouldn't have a for-profit medical system at all, because there is kind of a tendency to abuse that, as if you live in the United States. All right, here we go.
This tale of two snakes is the story of how medicine in the United States and eventually the world was subverted into a commerce business enterprise with the central goal of creating and maintaining illness throughout the population for profit.
So that one's okay. That one's a little weird. Creating and maintaining illness throughout the population for profit. That's I don't know if you could I don't know if you could actually, like, prove that in any way, shape, or form. Like, it also seems to go against kind of some of the things we do see in medicine, where like, it is a for-profit business. He's not wrong on that bit, but the whole, like, they're just here to keep you sick, make you sick, and keep you sick is kind of weird, because there's so many there are so many not safeties, that's a good one, I guess. Like, so many gatekeeping. There's so much gatekeeping in medicine about efficacy and like, and results, really. So that you can't just be like, no, this one medicine I claim gives results, and then it doesn't give results, and it's gonna be like a-okay. Like, that's not really what's happening. What's really happening is that you have companies that are making a whole lot of money out of things that, like, by making medicine cost way more than it should. So the EpiPen thing is a perfect example of it. That EpiPens are, like, ridiculously expensive, even though they cost almost nothing to make. I mean, a lot of people in medicine are working for universities through grants. Not everybody in medicine has direct pharma links. It's true. So I mean, it depends on a whole lot. Like, some of it is grants, some of it is government money. Like, hospitals work off of government money. Some of it work for, you make money. The whole system's a mess. Like, the whole system is a mess. I'm not trying to defend the medical system in any way, shape, or form. The whole fucking thing's a mess, right? It's just that the idea that they're doing, like, they're trying to get you sick and keep you sick, doesn't actually align with the reality of what's going on. Like, just because you're right about the fact that the medical system is a mess doesn't mean you're actually right about the cause of why the medical system is. All right, there we go. By the way, so this kind of stuff is also I think I don't know if I think what I know what it's referring to. I don't know if this is actual footage of that, but there's definitely been a history in medicine of drug testing and medication testing, pharmaceutical testing on the Black community. So they've definitely used a lot of blacks for very, very as guinea pigs, and very, very unethically. That is something that you're kind of taught if you work in medicine and shape or form. It's there's a whole case that's listed. I forget the name of it. I think it's got to do with syphilis, some study on syphilis or whatnot. Where it was I really, and one I should look it up. I'm pretty sure it's got to do with syphilis. Let's see. Syphilis. What's syphilis? Experiment. I think yeah, because this one. Tuskegee syphilis experiment, if I remember right. That's the one that if I'm remembering correctly. It's pretty bad. We'll read through a little bit of this because it's really bad. It's also neat history to like know about how we came about, because this is one of the like foundations of how we got like some of the ethics in medicine. So one of the reasons why you need like an IRB, internal review board, to approve your research is because of things like this, because it's incredibly unethical. So in 1932, the Public Health Service, working with the Tuskegee Institute, began a study to record the natural history of syphilis in hopes of justifying treatment programs for blacks. It was called Tuskegee Study of Untreated Syphilis in the Negro Male. The study initially involved 600 black men and 399 with syphilis, 201 who did not have the disease. The study was conducted without the benefit of the patient's informed consent. So that's already a no-no, right? Informed consent. Research told the men that they were being treated for bad blood, a local term used to describe several ailments including syphilis, anemia, and fatigue. In truth, they did not receive the proper treatment they needed to cure the illness. In exchange for taking part in the study, the men received free medical exams, free meals, and burial insurance. All through the original project lasted 6 months. The study actually went on for 40 years. So yeah, so a lot of no consent. So they lied about treatment. So you'd go in and be like, hey, I want to be treated for syphilis, and they'd be like, oh, we got this new study. There's new treatment for syphilis, and it wasn't actually a treatment for syphilis. And so you had black men who were out and about, thinking they were being treated for syphilis when they weren't. And that's also a big no-no. Like, God, medicine is super bad about some of these things. A lot of these things. The history of medicine in general is just no good. From the racist perspective, this is just animal testing. It's true. That's probably where it all came from, right? It's just like whatever. So yeah, there's a whole, I would, if you're ever interested in finding out more about sort of how medicine kind of works and where we get a lot of our ethics stuff, that's a really good, there's a whole timeline, and that's a really good spot to start at. It's really awful. Don't like, such a fucking awful. Medicine has a pretty bad history of certain things. Okay, so with that said, here we go.
We have been kept from fully developing our potential to reason, our intuition, to become enlightened, and to be the godlike beings that is our true nature.
I forgot he made this sentence. God damn, the godlike beings that is our true nature. So yeah, he's definitely one of those like Marty Leeds. Not even a Marty Leeds, spirit sciencey kind of guys that he's like, yeah, there's a system in place to keep us down from becoming godlike, which already is questionable. Like, one, if we're supposed to be godlike, we're not very powerful, like at all, right? And two, it really makes you wonder how this system was put in place in the first place, like, because, like, presumably, right, if medicine, the current medical system, is what is keeping us from being godlike, then one would expect that before medicine we were godlike, which is not reflected in human history. So you'd expect that, like, whatever, 40-50 years ago, maybe more than that, because I just showed you the 93 thing, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, we would have been godlike creatures. So where are all the examples of godlike creatures from 200 years ago? They're not there because they don't exist. I mean, dead people do stop existing, so that's pretty godlike. That's true. Oh goodness.
Animal man can be domesticated and controlled. Enlightened man cannot. The unholy trinity of corporate allopathic medicine, which is our mainstream medical system today, utilizing synthetic big pharma drugs surgery, and radiation drains the body's corpuscles through medical treatment strategies based on suppressing symptoms through synthetic drugs instead of targeting the cause of disease and removing it.
I do love it. I really want like surgery. Like, okay, God, there's so much. There's so much funny there. One we know what causes disease, right? Like, we not all diseases, obviously, but we know what causes disease, like bacteria, viruses, things like that, right? We do have ways. We do have things like antibacterials, antibiotics, that you can take to get rid of bacteria. That it's this weird, like logic here where if we had like, it's really weird that we have this causation between taking antibiotics and getting better from a disease caused by bacteria, in this particular example. That we have this correlation that is seems incredibly causal, right? Like, mostly because we've done experiments on it. So it appears to be incredibly causal that when you take antibiotics, you get better from diseases that are caused by bacteria, and when you don't take antibiotics, you don't get better from these diseases. And that we're really good at finding the medicines and how they like this ignores the all of the science, not just like biology and medicine, but like the microbiology, because like we know how these chemicals and medicine interact with the bacteria, which is why we use it. And it entirely just ignores that and says, no, we're not actually doing that because reasons, which is because reasons we're not doing the thing that we're saying that we're doing, even though we have plenty of research with it. Just take some tweezers and just pluck out the disease. That's it. Also, when it comes to surgeries, like people are still going in there and pulling something out, which again, like, it's silly to say. Like, do you think that like all the surgeons are not, like, all surgeons ever, right? Like, every surgeon right now would have to be on this lie about pulling shit out of people, like surgeries. Like, surgeries pull shit out of people, not always, obviously, right? But like cancer removal, you pull something out. You, like, all surgeries, like you're not even dealing with like invisible diseases like viruses and bacteria where you can't see them with the naked eye. You're talking about like taking pieces and cutting them and refitting them together, and you're implying that somehow all of this cutting and reshaping and removing and reattaching, all of this is done for nothing, and yet somehow nobody, like, no surgeon has ever been like, yeah, no, I just go in and when I pull out like a tumor, I just like I don't know what's the right word for it. I plant the tumor in the person first, and then I pull that out. Like, that's what it seems to be like. Like, it's just we are like all of this, the conspiracy to keep this up would be quite big, kind of like the space station stuff. Like, I'm doubtful. Okay, I just realized that I should probably change the name of this of the stream so that people don't yell at me. Hippocratic Hypocrisy. I do like that name. Let's go with something with that. Hippocratic Hypocrisy. Hippocratic Hypocrisy. Our name of the thing, so everyone knows that we're talking about the bloody truth. Okay, let's listen to a little bit more of his wild ranting.
What causes disease or cellular dis-ease? Toxic industrial environments.
Oh no! Somebody, and when I say somebody, I'm talking specifically to one person. Pasta, go yell at your boyfriend that he's missing out on cellular dis-ease. Whatever. I don't even know what that, like. I don't even know what breaking the word disease into two pieces actually does. Dis-ease. most disease, like, what is it? We're gonna have to go back on that. Dis-ease, like, okay, so dis-ease. I don't know what that means. Like, I don't, like, these are on their own. As far as I know, these aren't real words on their own, right? Like, now I have to look them up. Now I'm curious. No, this is not Disney. No, that's not a thing. I mean, I guess is a word, I guess. Is that what you're talking about? Dis-ease, like difficulty? Like sorry, not difficulty, like easy, like something's easy? What is it even? To ease is a word. To ease is a word. uh this is it is in displeasure. Oh. Oh, I see. Displeasure ease. I guess. Displeasure ease? Okay. Caused by displeasure ease. That's funny.
Toxic industrial environments.
I mean, okay, so that's not what causes disease. It does fuck with you. But that's not actually, like, it's this weird chicken and egg thing there. Like, yeah, living in a toxic environment is not going to be healthy for you for obvious reasons. And it might cause some sort of illness in you. But not all illnesses are caused by just living in a toxic environment. At all. Like not. That's a little weird. Like, you can still, yeah, you can live out in the woods and still get a cold. Like, it also goes back to, like, what were people doing 200 years ago, right? The environment wasn't all that great, but it was definitely less toxic. We didn't have, like, seas of plastic or whatever. How come like 200 years ago, this ease is not feeling good or well? Oh, you have told him thank you. Yeah, like, so yes, it does cause some disease. It's just it doesn't cause all disease, which is weird. It also could go back like 200 years ago. We were living in woods and whatnots, right? And yet diseases were running rampant. Like, we have like, it's not like there were less diseases of when we all lived in the woods. Like, diseases still existed then. It's this weird, if you could point to, like, this is when disease started, and it was after the invention of plastic or something, I could see that. But diseases have existed for a very long time. There's also a lot of, like, psychological disorders that I guess you're not going to call them diseases, which I guess if you're going to classify them that way, that exist regardless of environment. There's also genetic diseases which have nothing to do with the environment, or I shouldn't say nothing. They have very little. Yeah, I know that environmental factors can aggravate genetic disease or make them more likely. But they're not the cause of them, which is different. The Black Plague existed, yes. So there's plenty of examples of, like, before we had seas of plastic. It's the fact that I have to say that sentence is depressing. But before we had seas of plastic, we still had disease. Oh, does it? Okay, let's look up dis-ease. And now I'm curious. Dis-ease. Let's see all the woo that we get. No, I don't want dis-ease. Learn religions, new agey stuff. Look at this. What does the term dis-ease mean in alternative medicine? There you go. The word dis-ease comes from the Old French, then in the Middle English, it means lack of ease. So the choice by members of the alternative medicine community to hyphenate the word is not as unusual as first seems. Individuals and professionals within the alternative healing community choose to hyphenate the word disease in order to reduce the emphasis on the pathology itself and bring the focus instead to the natural state of ease that they wish to stress through their therapy and outlook. Proponents of alternative medicine believe that the modern traditional medicine tends to empower the disease itself through its naming convention, an obsession with pathology, and they believe that focusing instead on the natural disease-free condition is better avenue to overall good health and well-being. Oh, we learned something new today. We learned something new. All right, let's listen to more of this nonsense. I love it.
Toxic foods, over-acidic diets, polluted air and water, prolonged states of mental stress and emotional distress,
Really
lack
cool
of
thing.
sleep, drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, electrosmog, heavy metal poisoning, vaccine.
Wait, was that an iron lung? I'm sorry. Okay, we're also hit vaccines. Go back.
Lack of sleep, drugs, alcohol,
Man, this guy's
cigarettes,
this guy's all against a good time. Like a good time causes disease.
electrosmog, heavy metal
Is that's like an iron lung, isn't it? That's not, buddy. That's not. How is that? Okay, like I understand that an iron lung is the sorry wrong tab. Iron lung has like the word has like the word iron in it, but they're not like literally pumping them with iron. Like I don't even know how iron lungs work. Now I'm curious. We're doing lots of research today. This is very research. Iron lung. Okay, iron lung is known as a tank ventilator. Okay, here we go. We got things. Iron lung is also known as tank ventilator or drink tank is a type of negative pressure ventilator. A mechanical respirator which encloses most of the person's body and varies the air pressure in the enclosed space to simulate breathing. Oh, it assists breathing when muscle control is lost. Oh, so it just change. Okay, it just changes the air around you. Here's a nice little picture of it. Yeah. So the pressure inside changes, helping you. So there's no Okay. So I understand that they're called iron lungs. Iron lung versus Iron Maiden. Iron lung. Too much heavy metal. Too much heavy metal. Gotta break out. Is Metallica considered? I don't know heavy metal. I don't. So I think Metallica's heavy metal, but for all I know, it's like pop music. Somebody said tell me this. Like, electrosmog is a music genre. Electrosmog needs to be a band name. That's for sure. Like, there needs to be a band named Electrosmog. I think that would be fantastic. Heavy metal smog is worse than jazz rain. I love it. All right.
poisoning, vaccines, and even prescription drugs.
Disease is caused by prescription drugs, which is a statement. Iron lungs extract farts, but so it's pressurized. So I might. It's just all it's doing is just going whoop, whoop, like an air blanket, more or less, right? Just going whoop, whoop. Electrosmoke sounds like a drone artist more than a band. What's a drone artist? Like the flying things, drones? Because it would. It's very what's it called? Cyberpunk. Electrosmog is very cyberpunk. Very cyberpunk. That should be used more. I like cyberpunk. So that'd be cool. All right. So yeah, electrosmog, vaccines, and medicine. Of course he's an anti-vaxxer. I mean, that's like, who's surprised? No one's surprised. No one at all is surprised that that the Bloody Truth is an anti-vaxxer because of course he is. Drone is a music genre that has a lot of is that like the is boredom? Is it's the boredom or boredom? Something like that. I remember. I don't know. When I was in college, I had a friend who was really into like really bad music. And the boredom was one of my least favorite things that I ever heard ever. So I think I don't remember if they were droning or just bad, but that's like a band that I know that is terrible. And all the indie kids were like, "Oh no, it's so alternative to whatever, so we love it, even though it's actually awful." Because there's no middle ground with like indie kids. I'm sorry if you're like into indie music, good on you. I'm gonna shit on you for a little bit. Not that I'm not into indie music. I do like indie music, but there's like no middle ground with like indie enthusiasts. It's either like it's all pop and crap, or it's all this like absolutely garbage like like the boredoms and like just like super avant-garde nonsense. That's like that's not I I suppose if we want to define it as music, we can, but there's never like an in between. Very rarely is there an in between. Like of Montreal, I guess is the in between, which I think also became pop music, so it probably isn't. Music stuff. Okay, a little bit more. Oh goodness.
The rod of Asclepius has been the exoteric symbol for medical healing since as far back as 1400 to 1200 BC. He was the son of Apollo, the god of healing, immortalized forever in the stars as Ophiuchus. The serpent holder, standing on the male genital phallus and corpuscle destroyer Scorpio, which
I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what? We okay. Okay, let's listen to that again, because that was hilarious. Okay. So the serpent holder, that's definitely phallic. The serpent holder is definitely phallic. I'll give you that much. The bloody truth. Very phallic.
standing on the male genital phallus.
Okay. So the snake isn't the phallus. It's you think a scorpion is male genital phallus. Okay. Okay, buddy. The bloody truth. The birds and the bees, buddy. Birds and the bees. Like I don't even know how to approach the birds and the bees right now with you. That's not what a penis looks like. I don't know how else to tell you besides penises don't look like scorpions. Like they just don't. It's not what a penis looks like. I can't draw you one because then I'll get in trouble with YouTube, and I like my channel. But look up penis, please. Because it doesn't look like a scorpion. Oh, do you mean the stinger? Like the scorpion stinger looks like a penis? Because that also doesn't look like a penis. But I mean, it's closer than the whole scorpion. Like the whole. I just the only thing I can imagine is that the bloody truth is so anti medicine that he's got some growths that he hasn't gotten looked at yet, and so that's what his looks like, is like his genitalia look like a scorpion, and then he thinks that everyone else's genitalia looks like a scorpion, unless you mean like benefit of doubt, unless you mean the stinger, which maybe I like. It's less of a stretch than the whole scorpion, but still a little bit of a stretch there. Meat flute holder, am I on the wrong channel? I know. The only relation I see is the scorpion can be used to snip and dip. He has giant crabs. I think crabs or scorpions, maybe. Like maybe if he was like standing, cancer's the crab one, right? Maybe he was standing on like cancer, was like doing crabby things, maybe. But like. Okay. Scorpions look like penises. I'm so sorry if your penis looks like a scorpion. Maybe drop the whole anti-medicine thing and get that shit looked at, please.
And corpuscle destroyer Scorpio, which we'll cover in the plot twist at the end of this film.
There's a plot twist.
It is the staff with the single snake, completely misunderstood exoterically to be a symbol of the snake's possession of anti-venom against its own poisons and its ability to shed its skin and renew, an exoteric symbol of longevity and immortality. But in 1902...
I don't like... I'm not gonna sit here and like... Symbolism is always fun. But I'm not gonna sit here and argue with you about symbolism. That's just silly. Dun. Yeah, no. There's a plot twist. Is it the plot twist when you say there's gonna be a plot twist? I know, right? Like, you didn't do the plot twist very well. But good to see you're feeling better. I am feeling much better. If you weren't here earlier, I did most my symptoms are like they're still like something back here. I don't know what it is. Like It's not like it feels like mucus in the back bits. It feels like mucus, but like I'm not coughing anything up. Which I think is probably part of the problem, that I'm not coughing anything up. So it's still there. And it's still like I have to take a few deep breaths when I'm talking, but definitely nowhere near as much as it was last week, where I couldn't like finish a whole like one of these rants. Is just too much talking. So it's still there, but it's not as bad. And I can smell shit again, and I can taste it, so that's good. I'm happy about that. Maybe going back to work soon. Maybe going back to work. Okay, here we go.
2. A captain in the U.S. Army Medical Corps mistook the caduceus for the rod of Asclepius, and he proposed the adoption of the caduceus as the medical corps' official symbol.
Medical corpse. I love that, medical corpse. By the way that you say that, not that I need to give crap to anyone else who can't pronounce shit, because I can't pronounce shit, right? But the way that you say that is core, not corpse. But I do love the idea of the medical corpse. Like there's a band name. There's a heavy metal band for you, medical corpse. Heavy metal band, medical corpse. Oh goodness.
The two-snake caduceus is the symbol of the Roman god Mercury, whereas the one-snake rod is the symbol of Asclepius, natural healing. Before 1902, the caduceus was used as a symbol for commerce and companies in printing, as Mercury or Hermes was the messenger of the gods. It was used in mining, chemistry, and metallurgy, as alchemy was a hermetic science. Exoterically, Mercury is the god of commerce, trade, merchants, outlaws, thieves, and tricksters.
It is? That's a lot. That's a lot. I don't. Okay. Like I don't remember my Greek mythology all that much, but I do remember Mercury. In healing, and a god of healing, you adult. Hermes was a lot of things. Was he really the god of merch? I don't remember him being the god of merchant. Healing, I didn't even know. I thought he was just the messenger. I didn't think he did healing, but that's good. They're just making a reference to Hermes. Hermes was both the messenger and the god of healing. Let's see. What other things at Hermes? Hermes. Let's go back to you. Hermes. Probably do god here. God. What was he the god of? Hermes, the Greek god of trade. Oh, it was trade, eloquence, and the messenger of God. Okay. Hermes is one of the 12 Olympian gods and was god of trade, thieves, travelers. Oh, look at that! I didn't know that. Look at this, learning all the new things. I guess that does kind of look like a crab. I guess scorpion. I might want to get that look at. Sports, athletes, and border crossing, guide to the underworld. He was the second youngest Olympian god and was the son of Zeus and Maya, one of the 7 deities, and daughter of the Titan Atlas. Okay, so yeah, I guess he was the thieves and travelers and whatnot. Okay, neato. Probably shouldn't take these things too seriously though, buddy. Just saying. Okay.
And is represented by 2 serpents to show the opposing meanings of polarization. One snake is the healing, remediating, and curative, the upward flow of living corpuscles from the spleen to the cerebrum crown chakra, supporting positive energy, inner development, and enlightenment. The other serpent is the poisonous, debilitating, drainage of the living corpuscles away from the higher self, body, and mind.
Okay. Okay. Are corpuscles a real thing? I don't think corpuscles are. You know what a corpuscle is? Okay, there was a lot there. There was just corpuscle. Puzzles? Corpuscle, a minute body or cell in an organism, especially red or white cell in the blood or vertebrate. Okay, so it is a real thing. It looks like a minute practical regards and the basic constituent matter. That's a story. A minute body or cell. Okay, so it's a small body or cell. So I guess that's real. I don't like. I don't know how to take his symbolism here. Like, I could. Okay. Greek mythology may be closer to reality than flat Earth is, probably. So I could like. Okay, it's a really weird thing to say. Like, I don't understand the problem with having, like, if that's true, right? Like, we have two snakes, and one represents one represents like the whatchamacallit, like the healing, and one represents disease. And you have these two snakes sort of competing with each other. I don't get what's bad about, like, I guess if like it's worse than the one snake thing, I guess that maybe that's his point, that like it should just be one snake. It seems like a rather pedantic thing to complain about, that it's two snakes instead of one snake. But that's like the only thing I could really think of for why he thinks it's so bad. But okay, so now we have janitor Willie, groundskeeper, who's going to get his whip on. I'm gonna grab a beer while
It is this second serpent that has infiltrated medicine. It has convinced us that paying for poison is the cure for cellular poisoning. It is no accident that this symbol was first adopted by the Army. The bogus germ theory driving allopathic medicine.
Oh, bogus. Okay, so yeah, so he is definitely a no. Excuse me. He's definitely a no, germ theories is bullshit kind of guy. One snake is cool. Two snakes is just overdoing it. I guess so. I don't know. Twin Snakes was a really good game, so that's my argument about against it. Because you know what, Twin Snakes was a great remake of a really good game. Probably one of my favorite Metal Gear games. Yeah, I think maybe Snake Eater I like a little bit more, but I think Twin Snakes was better. Okay. So he doesn't like germ theory, so that's already like that. There, in and of itself, we can probably start just ignoring him because he's an idiot who thinks that germ theory isn't real. So we could probably stop there, but you know, we'll listen to a little bit more, I guess.
States that microorganisms invade our bodies and require military defense.
Military. Okay. So God. Okay, when I was in elementary school, and we were learning about diseases, actually we had a goal. Whoa, beer everywhere. Making a mess, like always. R&D, get a job. Um, what is it? When I was in elementary school. I was in elementary school during the 90s, so we had a class on a whole section of class on AIDS. Sorry, beer foamed over. A whole bit of class on AIDS, and part of that class was part of learning about AIDS was learning about antibodies and T cells and your sort of your immune system and whatnot. So one of the things that we did is we created like, one of the questions that we got asked is like, come up with an analogy for these different things, because when you're in like third, fourth grade in elementary school, analogies are a good way to learn. And, you know, even as adults, they're a good way to learn. And so a lot of us did come up with like police officer or tank or, you know, whatever. So usually something gun related, because most of us were boys and most of us like to shoot things as boys in elementary school. I get the feeling that that's where the bloody truth like kind of stopped and didn't realize that they were just analogies. Rather than HIV. Sorry. HIV, AIDS. Other kind of AIDS. And what was I saying? I think that's where he stopped. He's like, we did these analogies in elementary school, and that must mean what we mean, which is why this military thing has to be like obvious. Antibiotics fighting in the liver trenches. I do love it. Part about learning about AIDS was an exam that was a pain in the ass. Oh, I Uh, all right. So with that said, we'll move on to more things.
This model of disease, the warfare model, where illness comes from an uncontrollable enemy outside of us, necessitates a drug from the medical machine as our only chance of survival.
Okay, so that's not okay. One, also not always true, right? There's plenty. It's unfortunate. There's plenty of things, diseases and whatnot. That the best cure for a we don't have a cure for the common cold, right? Like the best thing you can do for a common cold is not medicine. We use medicine to make the symptoms more tolerable, but the best cure the best cure, it's not really a cure, but the best cure for the common cold is you kind of like rough it out, whatever that means, right? And so and you don't have to, but we take medicine not to cure the cold, but we take it to not feel gross and awful, to help, with headaches and body pains and all that nonsense. But it's not meant to cure anything. Then there's a lot of diseases like that where they like you don't the cure for them isn't necessarily a medicine. Sometimes it's not necessarily medicine. Sometimes medicines are used to just alleviate symptoms more than anything else. So that's already kind of bullshit. There are definitely some diseases where like the cure for them are medical or medicine, and that's kind of the only way to get rid of them. But that again, not all of them. That is some of them. The man thinks all doctors are just Baymax in disguise. I guess. But again, like this, all of this goes against decades and decades worth of research that shows a very like causal correlation between giving medicine, giving penicillin and having, X thing happen or whatever. Like we have these very causal relationships that we can observe, not just in like human testing, but outside of human testing. You can see, you can study like how different diseases react to different chemicals and whatnots. And so it's you're not just like denying. Like it's one thing to deny anecdotes of like, oh, I took oil number 3 here and I felt better, and to deny that is one thing, but you're denying like actual research, which is an entirely different thing. Like you're a flat earther, so no one's surprised, I guess, that you're just outright gonna deny science because reasons, I guess. Why not?
We fight this imagined enemy with chemical weapons and machines, just as any warfare.
Okay, iron lung. Iron lung was not used to cure polio. Just so you know, Mister the Bloody Tooth. That machine is not used. It's not a cure for polio. That's not you don't use those to cure anything. You use those to help you breathe when polio has destroyed your own ability to breathe. That doesn't cure you. So I know that that's what you're implying, that we stick people into machines to cure them of things. No. There's so we can sit here. Hey, hey, trans gamer girl, how are you? We can sit here and arguing what like cures of things are, right? But machines, especially medical machines, are not necessarily used to cure anything. They're used to move things around or help, like ventilators are used to help you breathe. Iron lungs who help to breathe. Things like the only one that I could really think of, and it's not really even a cure, is because it doesn't cure you, or things like dialysis machines that like, but again, they don't cure you as much as they pull blood out and then shuffle it around and whatnot. Excuse me, and shuffle it around and put it back in you. They don't really cure you of anything as much as they just pull shit out of you and put it back in. Like there's no like none of us, except for you, because you don't understand this thing. None of us actually think that machines cure us of things. Machines help us with stuff, certainly, but they don't provide the cure. I think going back to the Baymax thing, I do actually think now that he thinks he's watched way too much way too many Disney movies and genuinely thinks that like we just cure people by sticking them in a tube and then like healing lights go by or something and then they're cured. That's not at all how any medicine works. God, fucking polio.
Allopathic medicine blames these enemy diseases on bad genes or evil germs, mysterious and deadly cancers, unexplained autoimmune and neurodegenerative diseases, and many more, always outside of our control, with causes unknown and no ability to address or reverse ourselves.
That's okay. That's a complete lie. That is a like we know not every disease clearly, obviously. But we know why some of these diseases exist and what cause them. Even things like mental degeneration, things like that. Like we don't necessarily have cures, but again we're working on some of those. But we do know of ways to like slow progression. We do know of ways to not necessarily reverse things, especially when it comes to brain stuff. Brain stuff's really hard to reverse because brain stuff, right? But there are ways to slow it down. There are a lot of doctors do recommend like the thing that I because I'm gonna say something that's gonna sound a little weird. Is that doctors will recommend things like diets and exercise and eating less whatever carbs or whatever, right? And eating healthy and all these things. They do recommend these things. It's not like doctors say, no, feel free to go to McDonald's every day and drink, your 30 liters worth of soda and you'll be perfectly healthy. Like there's no doctor that says that. There's no doctor that says just go do whatever you want and then we'll give you medicine, right? To make you feel like none of them doctors don't do that. Doctors will gladly say, hey, you have this disease. One way to help you combat this cancer or this degenerate disease or whatever it is you're gonna have to change your diet. You're gonna have to eat better, eat differently, eat these kinds of things. You're gonna have to exercise. I know that exercise is often recommended for things like Alzheimer's, not like heavy exercise, but like keeping yourself healthy and mentally active and physically active are good things that no doctor is saying don't do them. This idea that the bloody truth has about like doctors are just gonna let you are just okay with you eating all the gummy bears in the world and then just pumping you full of medicine is like their job is wrong. Like doctors do recommend other things. Just that you're going to ignore that. You're going to ignore all the times the doctors do say, "Hey, how about you cut out some of the red meats out of your diet. You start going for a walk and getting some cardio in, once or twice a week." Those do still happen. These doctors sound evil. Yeah. All those doctors doing evil things. God, this shit. Sorry, my hair is distracting me on my camera way too much. Look at this nonsense. Getting super long. Oh, I need a haircut. I need a haircut super bad. Look at this nonsense. Look at this shit. It looks awful. I hate it. I hate it. Okay, going back to the video.
Thus, we are dependent on the medical system.
You are really obsessed with iron lungs. Like you are. Sorry, I have to stop with the iron lung thing again because this is like the sixth, like snippet of an iron lung that he's shown us. And like they're not some magical mystery machine. Like we looked them up. All they do is change the pressure inside from high to low. That's all they do to help you breathe. They're not like some magical, like there's nothing magical about them. They're certainly what would I call them? Certainly intimidating. Like they look intimidating. Wouldn't want to be in one. But there's nothing super magical or mysterious about them.
To rescue us. How did this happen? In 1847, the American Medical Association was founded, the largest association of medical students and physicians, both doctors of medicine and doctors of osteopathy. which is a type of alternative medicine, much of which is now said to have no therapeutic value and is labeled pseudoscience by the medical cartel.
The medical cartel. I love it. I love the idea of the medical cartel. That's fantastic. Maybe also because you're not wrong entirely. But not doctors, but medical system is kind. I could associate it with a cartel. But yes. As it turns out, pulling your spine and head and arms in weird ways does shit for you. It tends to do. It has been shown to do more harm than good. Like that's not new or anything like super, what would you call it, like you haven't discovered anything. Yes, no, you haven't discovered anything new there. Because you shouldn't be pulling. You shouldn't just be pulling on people's neck and stuff and then pretending like that's helpful. It ain't helpful.
From the very beginning, the AMA urged all state governments to adopt measures to register all births, marriages, and deaths, which is a form of commerce itself, the way shipments are registered to port authorities as property of the receiving country's government. In 18...
Okay. That's like more than a bit of a stretch. Oh no, this guy's probably a sovereign citizen too. You are being registered as property. That's what birth certificates and marriage certificates and death certificates are all about. They're just being registered proper. Okay.
1897, the AMA incorporated into a private corporation, and by 1899, they were already pushing for mandatory, untested smallpox vaccinations.
Oh goodness, untested. I mean, I don't know what the system. There's a good chance that the system in place for smallpox vaccine was nowhere near as rigorous as the one we have now. Like I can imagine. Like I'm not gonna pretend like whatever in 100 years ago, right? That we had we somehow had better or equal gatekeeping in place to make sure that the crap wasn't getting into people's bodies. I'm pretty sure that it was rather shabby. As I'm sure that ours will be considered rather shabby in 100 years. But it's definitely vaccines aren't bad. Smallpox has pretty much is eradicated because of the the things that we have done. So it's definitely a like what the fuck are you talking about? We have evidence to show that this works. So I need my citation needed button. I really do. I gotta get that downloaded and put on here some more. I might take time to do that.
In 1901, the AMA started a committee on national legislation, starting the trend of non-elected NGOs directing elected lawmakers' policy decisions. In 1905, they created the Council on Pharmacy and Chemistry to set standards for drug manufacturing and advertising, asking drug companies to show proof of effectiveness of their drugs or pay corrupt bribes to Doc Simmons in order to advertise those drugs in the Journal of the American Medical Association.
All right. Okay, so we got a weird complaint here. So your complaint is that they set up a system. I don't know anything about the bribery bit. I'm sure it happened. I'm not gonna pretend like it didn't happen. And that's bad, right? Like bribing people to let your untested medicine go by is not a good thing by any stretch of the imagination. But the other thing that you were complaining, you were actually complaining about the fact that they set up a system where you have to demonstrate that your medicine actually does something, and you are complaining about that. You're talking about that as if it's a bad thing. that you have to present evidence that the thing that you're going to sell to people and make people put in their bodies, that you are complaining that you have to prove that that is a good, that like an effective thing, or that it actually does anything, and you're just like, oh no, I can't believe these people are setting up systems that make me have to prove that the shit that I'm saying is true. Isn't that awful, everybody? That's a weird complaint, which coming from a flat earther, I shouldn't think that it's such a weird complaint, because I'm sure you get that a lot, and you're incapable of actually defending your assertions. So, personal reasons, I could see why you wouldn't want to do that. I do like that art. That was great.
Basically became the first drug catalog sales reps. Obviously, drug manufacturers had great incentive to get in good favors with Doc Simmons and the AMA, later known as the Big Pharma revolving door. But the real horror started in 1904, when the AMA founded the Council on Medical Education to regulate medical schools and what type of medicine could be taught in them, as osteopathic and homeopathic medicine had no commercial profit incentive to these snakes.
No. remember that bit where you were complaining about the fact that people actually had to demonstrate that their thing worked, right? You were complaining about that, and that's the problem with homeopathic and osteopathic medicine, is that you actually have to demonstrate that the thing that you are saying it does, your medicine does. You actually have to demonstrate that it does that, and when you can't do that, usually it appears like the option for what you're kind of okay with is to I know it's because so the thing that you can do is just say we're being silenced, rather than understanding the fact that you have no evidence for the things that you're saying. So yes, homeopathy is bullshit. You have no evidence to back up that homeopathy does anything at all besides placebo. You have no evidence for that, and so rather than admit to the fact that homeopathy does bullshit, you just gotta be like, no, it's the system that's keeping me down. I mean, you're a conspiracy theorist, so that's par for the course for you. That it's not you who's wrong, it's the system who's wrong. And when no, it's you who's wrong. It's not the system. The system's got nothing to do with you. Is that a fake newspaper? The font looks rather modern. I don't think it's a fake newspaper as much as I think it's just I think it's from it looks like it's from a website. Yeah, no, it's definitely from a website, because it's got what pretty much look like hyperlinks with the 1 and the 2. The font does look very modern. I think it's the silly filter that he's got on, that like sepia tone with the lines. I think that's I don't think he's intentionally, he might be, but I don't think he's intentionally trying to make it like deceive you. It's also, I mean, the article's from 2009. Yeah. This looks like probably some blog post somewhere. Written by Reverend Dennis Shipman, April 2015. Take back your power. So I don't think it's meant to be deceitful. I think it's just supposed to. It's just part of his filter that he's been using this whole time. So water doesn't have memory. I know, right? Oh, it doesn't. Water doesn't remember shit. Imagine that. Yeah.
They had to go. From its earliest inception, the American Medical Association has had one principal objective: attaining and defending a total monopoly of the practice of medicine in the United States. From its outset, the AMA made the unholy trinity of allopathy the basis of its practice. Allopathy set up an intense rivalry with the prevalent 19th century school of medicine, the practice of homeopathy.
Again, okay. Water doesn't have memory. It just lasts a couple of phantom seconds, and it has no medical application. Oh, it does have medical section. Yeah. Again, like He mixed old images with new things, made it look old. It's like he wants you to. Oh no, yeah, no. I think a lot of this is like he's. I think you're right. I don't like. I don't think he's. I don't think that, like I think I. What's the best way to put that? I don't think in that particular instance he's trying to make you think that that article is old as much as he's trying to. I do believe that he's trying to confuse you as much as he, because a lot of this is just like I'm gonna push a bunch of bullshit on you like as quickly as I can. Um which is why we're only through 10 minutes of, not even 9 minutes of this video, even though we've been talking about it for like an hour and a half or an hour, right? It's because that's the conspiracy way to do things. You gish gallop the shit out of it. There's no way for me to like. There's so many history things that I would need to look up to really talk about this in depth. I would need to have a degree in some sort of biology to be able to talk about like the his what did he say, the crepuscular, no, not the crepuscular, the whatever little bodies in your blood that are taken out, right? There's definitely like so much of that stuff that like there's no way for me to be an expert in all of the things that he's talking about. He doesn't need to be an expert, right? He just has to spit it out. That's all he's got to do. But for me to be able to counteract it and talk about it in any meaningful way, I would have to be an expert in multiple fields of medicine, biology, microbiology, history, to be able to sit here and adequately take apart this video. I would need all that. Which is why I'm not adequately doing it. I'm just making fun of his stupidity and not actually bothering to like go through like citations after citation, because there's no way to do that. You would need a small team of experts to go through this 1 hour. It's in the video is 1 hour. To go through this 1 hour video, because that's all he does. He's just gish galloping the shit out of us. Here's a bunch of images. Here's a bunch of things for me to say. I'm going to throw it all at you at once. And so there's no way for you to sit here and counteract every one of his points. And that is not a legitimate complaint, because he's being slimy about it. But that is a complaint that I'm sure that if he ever watches this video, or anybody ever complains about this video, the stream, is going to be, you are not an expert in all these things. Why didn't you address this one point more thoroughly? Why aren't you talking about this? And why are you just laughing at homeopathy being a joke? Because I'm not going to sit here and talk about how water doesn't have memory and explain why that's impossible, and how I'm not going to go look at the research and lack thereof of homeopathy, and why it does, at best it's a placebo, probably not even that for the most part. It's how con artists and it's how these conspiracy guys get away with everything, right? It's how creationists do it. It's how flat earthers do it. It's how everybody does it. They just throw so much at you all at once that you can't respond to everything. And I don't feel like playing their game, so I'm just gonna laugh at them and be like, haha, homeopathy's a joke because water doesn't have memory. That's the problem with woo. It takes 1,000 times more effort to debunk it than it does to make it up. Yep. Oh yeah. This video, which is an hour, it's an hour long, which is a decent length, right? I'm sure it took him a while to gather all of this stuff together. But it definitely, it would take me at an hour long. It probably, like, if I wanted to go through this whole video and legitimately debunk it, it would take me, I would say take me at least 3 to 4 times as long as the video is. So for his 1 hour video, it would take me about, I would guess, about 4 hours to explain everything's wrong with it, and maybe even more. For me to find and to do all the work to find the citations. Let's, do you have anything cited? So this isn't, okay, one, this isn't his video, it looks like. So he does have a few citations. Definitely not enough citations. Like you can tell kind of where, like he's got a few things about few articles and what, but definitely nowhere near the amount of citations it would need to say, to make a statement as bold as germ theory is wrong. Like that statement alone, to contradict germ theory all on its own, would require books and books and books worth of evidence. There's no way that a single citation would accomplish that. Like there's just so much that it's such a fundamental part of science that you need more than just a single citation to prove that wrong, which however many citations he has there, do not do this justice. Okay, so with that said, we're gonna keep on going.
The AMA is one of the biggest frauds in history, involved in medical bribery, racketeering, corruption, coercion, and deception.
Okay, so again, claims like that. So just to reiterate the point I just made, but to make it more obvious, points like that, like he's got all these accusations, racketeering, bribery, deception, all like these are all claims that I am absolutely certain he doesn't show. One he doesn't show any investigations, any newspapers of the time, no history, nothing. He just shows these scary pictures of snakes and ghosts and these two people and money, and that's his evidence. That is his evidence for for accusations of racketeering and whatnot. That's his evidence, is scary pictures. For me to be able to debunk that, I would have to go take a whole fucking history course on the American Medical Association and find out what cases they might have had against them, what accusations they had, how much validity they had, and then for every accusation I'd have to look into what evidence they presented for such an accusation, and there might be some, right? Like it's a big institution. I'm sure there are cases of bribery. How influential those cases of bribery are is right, but I would have to do all the legwork. Those are just excuses, or those are just accusations with nothing to back them up. But R&D, they look scary. You might be right. Let's show scary pictures. Yeah, just okay. That's what you do. Just show scary pictures, and you gotta be right. Scary pictures. You gotta be right.
Coercion and deception. The former quack heads of the organization, like the failed journalist Doc Simmons, who never attended a medical school or worked for an actual hospital, and his protege, Dr. Morris Fishbein, an aspiring circus trapeze artist and part-time opera singer, who never...
Okay, so let's take the time. Okay, so we gotta look up two people here. We gotta look up Dr. G.H. Simmons. I don't know who this person is. Let's look him up. Dr. G.H. Dr. G.H. George Henderson was an English-born American physician, editor-in-chief, and journalist of the American Medical Association, secretary of the American... So, got something. Oh, he's got a very short biography. Simmons was born in whatever. So, okay. Oh, he's from Lincoln, Nebraska. Hey, you're from my part of town. I'm not from Lincoln, Nebraska. I live in the only other city in Nebraska, which is Simmons was born in Montian Much, and then moved to Lincoln, Nebraska when he was 18. After studying at the University of Nebraska, so he studied somewhere. Simmons graduated from Harmon Medical College, so went to a medical college, graduated from a medical college. Hammond was in the homeopathic program at the time. So you were born in 1880, I think. 1852. So that's not surprising, right? You were an idiot, but you were an idiot for your time too. Simmons later rejected homeopathy. Oh, never mind. You weren't an idiot. You rejected it. He specifically graduated from Rush Medical College. He was the secretary of the State Medical Society in Nebraska in the late 1890s. Practiced medicine in Lincoln until 1899. Simmons came to Chicago when he was elected editor-in-chief of JMA that year. Okay, so this is and I understand this is just like a quick Wikipedia thing, right? Like so if you don't want to trust my quick investigation into this claim, I entirely understand why you wouldn't, because it's just a quick Wikipedia search. But I have done more effort into looking this up than whatchamacallit, than whoever this guy, apparently it's not the Bridge, whoever this guy is, has done to look up his. Diseases of Women is such an old-timey paper title. I love it too. Okay, so go back a little bit and go through his claims just a tad bit.
The former quack heads of the organization, like the failed journalist Doc Simmons, who never attended a medical school or worked for an actual hospital.
So, two claims: never attended a medical school or worked for an actual hospital. Again, studied the University of Nebraska, not a medical school, but studied the University of Nebraska. Graduated from the whatever this place is, Drexel University of College of Medicine. Hey, College of Medicine. Imagine that, and Rush Medical College, another medical college. And then practiced medicine in Lincoln. I don't know if he, for all I know, the claim that he didn't work at a hospital might be true. There's a potential. I don't know how much of a chance there is, but there's a potential that he never worked at a hospital. That does not mean he didn't work at the medical field. It just means that he never worked at a hospital. So you're crazy. You're fucking lying. And unfortunately that took way more time to go and look up that you were fucking lying than it is for you to say all this nonsense.
And his protege, Dr. Morris Fishbein.
Okay, let's look at Morris Fishbein. I'm sure he's also got some interesting thing. I'm sure he probably did want to be a trapeze artist. Fishbein. Morris Fishbein. Quacks. He was also notable due to the affinity for exposing quacks. Ha! He was against you all, which is probably why you don't like him. Vilified the chiropractic community due to his principal role found in the propagating the campaign to suppress the chiropractic as a profession due to its pseudoscientific practice. Oh, he was like, I love this. Okay, so as it turns out, just looking this shit up, right? That's all you gotta do. Looking this shit up. The reason that whoever what is your name? Because I know you're not the bloody truth. You're somebody. Dr. Andrew Kaufman. Oh, Andrew Kaufman. I know that name. I've heard your name before. Oh, your name. Where have I heard your name before? You are a woo person, Dr. Andrew Kaufman. If I remember right. Oh, we watched a video with this guy. I remember him. I think he does actually have a doctorate. I remember now. He did the coronavirus shit. We watched the whole video. He was on Germanism and we talked about him already. Yeah, you were all sorts of crazy too. Okay, I do love it. Okay. So what Andrew is saying, and I'm not gonna call you doctor because I don't even care that you earned your degree as a doctorate. You're a fucking idiot who said stupid ass shit about coronavirus. So, oh my goodness, you're a doctor who doesn't believe in the theory of disease, huh? Okay. Ow, this is like extremely telling of you, Kaufman. Andrew, I'm just gonna call you Andrew. This is extremely telling of you. Like extremely telling of you that you're the one saying all this stuff. Okay. I worked at a hospital. I work at a hospital. Doesn't say shit about my medical training. Okay, so yeah. So Dr. Morrison or Morris, Dr. Fishbein, Dr. Fishbein is somehow I'm sure that this guy paging Dr. Janitor. I love it. I fix our computers. I mean I do not necessarily I do therapy, whatever that means. I don't know what that means. Whatever that's worth, I suppose. But I work at a hospital and I'm not a doctor. And have very little medical training, which is mostly like first aid shit. That is the extent of my medical training.
An aspiring circus trapeze artist and part-time opera singer.
Why are those bad things? Are you like, Andrew, are you like against people being well-rounded individuals and having hobbies? Like, are you like, oh no, obviously an opera singer has to be an idiot. We can't have smart opera singers. We all know from, I don't know, someplace that all opera singers are just idiots and they can't be possibly smart and or doctors. They all have like what? Like what? I know one part-time opera singer, and he's also part-time opera singer. Part-time is the fool's music, I guess. And he does he ran his own company for a while. I think he works for a company now, but he does stage stuff. A really good friend of mine. And he's a part-time opera singer. Like that's what he does like on the weekends, and he goes and does opera things. Like I don't understand. Like what's like I'm sure you do shit part-time too. I'm sure you do. Like I'm sure you have hobbies, Andrew. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you're just a boring ass asshole who doesn't do shit. But like, it's such a weird complaint to be like, oh, this person was like, why are you dissing on trapeze artists? Like, they're fucking talented as all hell. You're like, oh, I can't believe this guy wanted to be a trapeze artist. What a fucking loser. Like, oh, fuck you. They're talented. Work hard. Train hard. Do probably way more than you do. Oh, and oh no, he sings sometimes in public really well. What a fucking petty ass shit to complain about. Goddamn, like the pettiest of bullshit.
Who never worked a day as a physician in his life.
Never worked a day as a physician in his life. That I mean, you might be potentially true. I mean, like, okay, physician in his life is kind of a thing that's gonna, he did study at Rush Medical College. When he graduated, Fishbein saved, so 18 months. Jesus fucking Christ, buddy, Andrew, do a Wikipedia search, Andrew. Okay, let's. I'm just gonna read the first line of his biography on Wikipedia. He was born in St. Louis, Missouri, on July 22nd, 1889, son of an immigrant Jewish peddler who moved his family to Indianapolis. He studied at Rush Medical College, where he graduated in 1913. Fishbein served 18 months as a resident physician at Durand Hospital for Infectious Diseases. I'm sorry, what stupid ass shit did you just say? What did you say?
As a physician in his life.
Let's I'm sorry. We're gonna go back just a minute.
Opera singer who never worked a day as a physician in his life.
Andrew, 18 months as a resident physician at Durand Hospital. Fucking lying piece of shit. I don't like. I get real annoyed at the lying. Like that's unnecessary. How I mean it really goes to show how much we can trust the bullshit that you're selling us, where you can't even get basic facts that we can just look up on Wikipedia right. Like you can't even get that right, and yet you expect us to trust you about all the other shit that you're saying, which is very little. You're just no. Just no. Damn trapeze artist, you debunked me, so now I have to hate you. Alright, a little bit more.
But somehow headed the American Medical Association.
Probably from the 18 months he was a resident physician, and probably because he's smart.
Were to set the standard for the disgraceful fraud still going on to this day. You can find the shocking details of this in the first 2 chapters of the book, Murder by Injection. A free version is linked in the description section below.
Nothing like a self-published book to really show you how truthful you are. Nothing like that. Self-published books. Always the most reliable are the self-published books.
In 1907, the American Medical Association involved the Carnegie Foundation in elaborating a book-length study of medical education in the United States and Canada, also known as the Carnegie Foundation Bulletin Number 4.
Oh, Jesus, fuck. Do you see how scary that number 4 was? That number 4 was terrifying. I am scared now. because of that number 4. Like they even put it in red. Look at that. It's like all in red and bloody looking. That is, I've never been scared of the number 4 more than I am right now. Just, oh god, fucking unnecessary. 4 is the new 666. I think so. Like, I don't get it. Oh look, he's who is that? Okay, I gotta keep
Its
an eye on that.
author,
Oops.
Abraham Flexner, was an ambitious educator, neither a physician nor a medical scientist, but the brother of Simon Flexner, employed by the Rockefeller Institute for Medical Research. Later on, Flexner became the first director of the Rockefeller philanthropy programs in medical education.
Oh no, he was part of a philanthropic group. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. My stop my beating heart. It's just, this chaos is too much. Which Flexer? I don't know which Flexer. Who we have? Abraham Flexer. Abraham Abraham Flexner was guy here. Founder, director of the College of Pediatric School, and he founded a college. Neat. Flexner published a critical assessment of the state of American education system in 1890, titled American College Criticism. His work with Carnegie Foundation to commission an in-depth evaluation into 155 medical schools in the U.S. and Canada. It was his resultant self-titled Flexner Report, published in 1910. This sparked the reform of medical education in the United States and Canada. Flexner was also the founder of the Institute of Advanced Study in Princeton, which brought together some of the greatest minds in history and collaborated with the intellectual discovery and research. Okay. I maybe this guy? Who knows? But but in the video he's got like, he's made out of blood. Flexner, yes. He flexed. He lifted. But like look at that. Oh, sorry, wrong hand. Look at that. It's all like blood and shit. Like that's definitely that's scary right there. That's scary. We should be scared.
Andrew Carnegie was regarded as the second richest man in history after John D. Rockefeller. While Carnegie played a leading role in the American steel industry and education, Rockefeller was interested in the oil industry and medical research.
Okay, I'm not gonna defend the hyper rich. I'm really curious as to what any like. You're all over the place, Andrew. You're just like, we gotta connect some of these dots. R&D doctors shouldn't be afraid of blood. It's in their job description. Yeah, I'm just like connect all these things together, buddy.
Flexner's report was published in 1910, and the purpose was to improve the quality.
So I don't know if you don't notice this, but this is so cheaply made that every once in a while, if you look at the bottom right corner, look at the bottom right corner. So like go all the way to the bottom right, like you see the DivX watermark there. So they were so cheap in their video production that they couldn't get rid of the fucking watermark. And it'll go away every once in a while, which makes me think they're using some sort of demo version or whatever. Like this is the effort that they put into shit. So some of the jitteriness is just from my computer and YouTube and whatnot, but some of it is actually in the video. At least the one that's been uploaded, is that some of that jitteriness is still there. It's super professional. Like it's R&D levels of professional. Isn't that the quality stamp? Yes, the quality stamp of approval by DivX.
Quality of medical service by establishing professional medical education based on mainstream scientific principles.
Oh no! Abraham Flexner reported, was published. Yeah, whatever. it was to improve the quality of medical services. Shocking. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine trying to improve medical services by establishing professional medical education? I just, God, where are my pearls to clutch about the fact that somebody wants to get professional professional medical education based on mainstream scientific principles? I just clutch the pearls at this horrible thing that Abraham Flexner is doing.
But what was accepted as science in the early 20th century?
It went away. It's not there anymore. It's gone. The Divx thing is gone. I'm obsessing over the Divx watermark, but it's gone now. But someone please think about the quacks. They want to make monies too.
The theory of materialism, rising in the 17th century, holds that the only existing thing is matter. Everything is composed of material, and all phenomena, including consciousness, human soul, and spirit, are the result of material interactions.
The theory of materialism isn't a thing, so that's not an actual theory. It's just a thing. Okay.
In other words, matter is the only substance. Scientific materialism, or physicalism, became the philosophical position of the early 20th century.
Philosophy.
The main statement of physicalism is that there are no kinds of things other than physical things.
That's okay. I don't know philosophy. Well, philosophy's stupid, so let's not get into philosophical debates about this shit. I don't have pearls, but I can use some Mardi Gras beads. It's a philosophy. He isn't wrong, but like, yeah, he's making but he isn't making a point. Yeah, so I don't understand philosophy. I do, but I don't want to talk about it. Philosophy is stupid, so I'm just gonna go with that. I'll agree with you that philosophy is stupid. I can also, though, probably disagree that I sincerely doubt philosophy is mental masturbation, no place for it in science. I want that on a fucking t-shirt right now. Philosophy is mental masturbation, has no place in science. It's right here, yes. Okay, so yes, that's philosophy. I will give philosophers the benefit of the doubt, and I sincerely, I don't. Well, maybe they do. They're kind of weird. Because there's definitely things like, it's weird to say that the only things that exist are physical things, because like they're like exist. God, then we have to talk about what existing means, and like, what does it mean for something to exist, right? Like ideas exist, sort of like colloquial way of talking about existing. I have an idea, but there's no like. See, this is the stupid part, because then I can be like, there's no material component, but then everyone will be like, no, there is a material component. It's your brain and the electricity in your brain. And that's the material component of the ideas, but there's no way for that idea to exist without. This is why I hate philosophy. It's a waste of time. Like thinking about it, it's just already making me feel like I hate philosophy. Sure. You know what? I'll agree with you, Person Pants, Mr. Andrew Pants. But only because I think philosophy is dumb. That's the only reason that I'll agree with you, is because I also think philosophy is, and not because I think you're right. I'm gonna go against philosophy. I'm a physicalist, and it just means that everything comes from a physical process, not that everything humans talk about is necessarily physical. That's one way to do it. Logic is true without philosophy. Logic still depends on axioms, though. It's still true without philosophy. I don't like philosophy. Okay, we got a couple more minutes to finish this off, so let's see how much more we can get in here.
Before the Flexner Report was released, twice as many.
Was that just like a random like?
Many physicians practiced alternative medicine than conventional allopathic medicine.
Whatever. Okay.
And medical knowledge was taught in small private schools all over the United States. The report changed everything, and backed by the police power of each American state, medical schools were obliged to follow the trends set by the Carnegie Foundation.
I'm sorry. Do you okay. Do you think the police like arrested homeopaths? Like okay. Oh no, we're gonna have the philosophy discussion. No, philosophy is dumb. Not going to have this philosophy discussion. And end of the road. We're not a debate channel around here. We're not a debate channel. As I sit here and debate about philosophy that I dislike, but I have so much to say about philosophy and how much I dislike it. We're having it one of these days. I have issues with philosophy. Now we're gonna use the last 5 minutes and not talk about the police state. That's also a bad route to take. We're gonna talk about the fact that I dislike philosophy. So I have to have this discussion every once in a while when people are all like, philosophy is important. It's still really dumb. I don't care if it's important or not. It's still really dumb. And it's mostly filled with people sitting around debating the definition of shit. And that's boring and dumb and unnecessary. God, whenever I think of philosophy, I always remember, and I really shouldn't, but I always remember Steve McRae sitting around debating the definition of atheist. And like, it's is there a value to debating the definition of philosophy? Sure, if you enjoy it, there's a value to it, right? Like if you get some sort of joy out of it, yeah, sure, there's a value to it, right? Like if you enjoy it and you like to have those kind of pedantic discussions and you get some sort of joy out of it, then there's value for you, and that's fantastic. Is there a value for anyone else? No, there isn't. Words have multiple definitions, and just get over it. It's fine. All you got to do is understand what the definition the person you're talking to is using, agree on that definition, and move on with life. There's no reason to sit around and discuss whether someone has the correct or incorrect definition. The only correct definition is the one that you and the person that you're talking to agrees on, and that's it. It's silly. It's incredibly silly to sit around and that's what I think about when I think about philosophy. Is I think about those kinds of really dumb conversations about like, oh, I'm gonna sit here and my definition of philosophy or atheism is the only term that we can use, and somebody else being like, no, it's got to be my interpretation. And to be honest, it's also the same kind of thinking, and I'm gonna take this to a different spot. It's the same kind of thinking that we get when that gets us things like bigotry, right? It's why people sit around and have to have stupid discussions about what it means to be a woman, because people are so fucking determined to use their definition of a woman that they can't imagine any other definition of a woman, and we have and that's what gets us transphobes or even people who can't even deal with the fact that women can have jobs, right, and still be women, or women don't have to wear makeup, or women can do whatever, women can make choices and don't just have to be baby makers, a la the Sargon of Akkad's, right? Is because and Sargon's a great example of this, because he's got his definition of woman, and he is a takes that same kind of philosophy approach to, this is the one definition to the term of women, and we cannot change it, otherwise the world falls apart or something. And that's what I see philosophy doing, is people having to sit around and argue about the definition of something unnecessarily. Just get over it. You might have a different definition than someone else, and that's fine. That words are meant for communication, and as long as you can communicate with the other adult in the room, it doesn't matter whether you're using the same definition or not. Well, it does matter whether your definition is 100% correct. There's no such thing as a definition of a word that is universally correct. That doesn't exist. That there's no way that exists. There's one definition for the word. And that, in my opinion, is what philosophy does, is it makes a bunch of people sit around and argue about whether their definition about something is the one correct universal definition about shit. And I think that makes people way worse than it should. That's I have words about philosophy. I have all the words. But we're gonna, on this bright note, on this bright term, now that I've shit on philosophy, we're gonna end the show, so nobody can argue with me about it. So take that, everybody. We should Red, send me a thing, send me a DM. We'll set up a time to have you on the show. I'd love to have, if nothing else, we can sit around and talk about the silliness that I usually talk about, but have you on to talk about it with me. That I think would be fun. So we'll pick a video or something and talk about it. So send me a DM. We'll chat up. We'll chat about a good date and a good time to do that. Everyone else, thank you very much for being here. I do appreciate you all being here on a Sunday afternoon with me. Have yourselves a wonderful week. Have a great rest of your weekend. And all of you, I'll see you all next time.